got started today. That's
man,
like,
somebody left me a donut.
y'all better get going. Okay,
Oh, they left a donut right here. Who's donut? Who was sitting right here?
you need to show people there's like a giant bag of nuts.
Yeah,
There's
anything
tin.
that's left here and it's available, I think I could eat it. I just want to make sure I'm not.
Ramon was the last person in that chair, but that could be Ron Slay from yesterday afternoon. I'm not ruling that out.
Oh, really? Oh,
I don't know if I want a donut.
okay, I
from
guess I'll
yesterday
taste it.
afternoon.
1 to 10.
It tastes.
Scale of 1 to 10.
Okay.
Oh, I give it a 8.5.
Okay.
Yeah, still pretty good.
That sucker's been there for a minute. Was it?
No, like 24 hours.
Okay.
No different if it was sitting on my counter in my kitchen.
That's true.
In a box. Good. I needed some sugar, man. So if I get lit on here, you'll know why. I got a sugar high, sugar rush.
Do it, man. Just eat the whole thing and see what happens. I had a friend who was allergic to chocolate who played football in college at Arkansas State, and it made him crazy. So that dude would go get a jumbo Snickers bar from a gas station before every game and eat it before he ran out of the tunnel. And that dude just attacked people.
Yeah, I believe that. I won't mention
crazy.
any names, but there were some guys who were on medicine and they made sure they didn't take it on Sunday. And I'd be like, whoa. Hey, man, calm down. You may hurt me. It's like giving me headbutts. And,
You said guys, right? Not guy.
yeah, not
Multiple
guys.
guys.
Yeah, no doubt. It made me aware, like, oh, well, what's going on? Why is he talking to me like I'm the enemy?
No.
I was like, hey, man, get this guy away from me, man. He's playing, man. He's scaring me. People have no idea.
Dudes would do just whatever it took to get up for a game, wouldn't they? I mean,
Absolutely.
just whatever it took mentally, because you've said this before.
Yeah.
Like somebody was talking about a player one time and said he's not even competitive, and you said, stop right there. You can't get this far if you're not competitive. Stop that.
Yeah.
The Blaine Bishop, stop that. So everybody's competitive, but some dudes take it to like whole other levels to find whatever that button is.
Mm-hmm.
And for some guys, it's probably easier to punch the button. For others, they got to go find ways to do it, like don't take their medicine or whatever.
Or like me, make up stories.
Right.
Yeah, no doubt. Like I'm competing, but there's a whole nother level of competing that becomes addictive and contagious on game day that you have to reach to be successful in this league every Sunday. And it's hard. People are like, oh, how's it hard? No, it's really hard because it's draining. And what your body's going through and your mental capacity as far as getting up to the best and the highest level you can week in and week out is really the part that's tough. And so I figured out that I played better if I was mad. And mad means if somebody did something to me in the game, I watched the game halfway through and I go, uh-oh, I look totally different. And it was all because somebody, dove on my knees and could have actually taken out my leg and got me injured. It didn't. So, but after that, I was running around like my pants were on fire. I mean, you could see the difference.
Oh, wow.
And that pissed me off that I could see it. And I said, that's how I got to play every time. No coach, nobody. And so I said, what did that? Well, he pissed me off. Well, I need to be pissed off every game. So find a way to do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, like you would tell your position coach, would you tell like Mark Robb?
I wouldn't tell
anybody,
nobody.
Like just find a way to get me pissed
No.
off.
Oh, no. It's not their job. It's mine.
Okay.
No, I would never go to somebody else and tell them not no coach, not no player. No, so I would come up with my own ways to get pissed off. That's why I would make up stories about somebody robbed my mother or, yeah, you the guy that did this or that. Yeah. Yeah. Or you not going to give up and do the first down on me, so we're not having that. Whatever it was an edge. Whatever it could be. Dirty player. Well, guess what? Guess what you do with a dirty player? You throw the first punch, and the punch is a tackle, a hit, a block.
Yep.
Nothing outside of the whistle.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That would burn me. I would never want to get a penalty to call. Sorry, it's too hard to play defense. So, yeah.
You ain't giving nobody 15 yards.
Nah. So, yeah, that's what you would do. Yeah. And it would start, the build-up would start on Wednesday, as everybody knows. Knows the history of it there. But I was definitely not, I think some people have taken it the wrong way. Like, I definitely was not unapproachable or things of that nature. It was just like, hey, I got my mind right. Hey, man, you see what they was doing on film? Yeah, I watched the first downs. Yeah, you better double your pads up this week because they not messing around. They coming. Yeah. So
You started to stack it up though during the week
Yeah.
to get like
to get to that
going up
level.
steps to get to that point.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a slow gradual because I had to watch film to actually see where I was going to pull it from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was only really just to force myself to play at the highest level. And you're competing. Guess what? You're competing at practice.
Right.
Does practice look like a freaking game? Absolutely not. So there is another level. Some guys are playing in games like it's practice. They go, oh, I'm competing. No, not practice competing. Game time competing.
How long did it take you into playing? How long did it take you into your career before you figured that out? Like, this is the way I got to do it to be successful. Is it right early on rookie year? You're like, this is the only way I can survive is I got to get to this certain point mentally.
Oh, no, it wasn't early.
No?
It was it was in my rookie year, but it was more so towards the middle to end. Yeah. Because that's when it's revving up that I'm playing a lot. I was playing special teams. I was kind of that dime guy my rookie year. And then it's when I got to be a starter where it really became clear picture that I better go out there and start hunting instead of being the hunted. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so always better to throw that first punch. That's those boxers.
Who was the best guy that you knew who could just flip a switch? Who could just, like, Sunday came?
It was a lot of guys like
and that guy could just flip the switch. I know you talked about Dawkins in Philly, where he became Wolverine on game day, like a whole other.
Yeah, because he was, he has a, he was a real religious guy. Like I could cuss at practice, like to myself, like, oh dang it, buddy, he'd be like, hey man, you can't do that. I'm like, huh? And you leave Bible scriptures highlighted. Yeah, man, Troy Vincent. Mm-hmm. And I was like, did y'all really take that seriously? This was a practice. I didn't say it to somebody. I was saying it to myself. Like, say, dadgummit, so I just like, wow, really? So I only did it in the games. But, so, yeah, so those guys, but that's why he's in the Hall of Fame. But he was a really special talent. Hadn't seen somebody that gifted. He could have actually played corner. He would have been pretty successful. Really good.
And you say that, and somebody listening might be like, I did that in high school.
Well, I didn't.
But when you talk about a guy in the NFL who could play two positions, I don't care what they are.
Yeah, that's
like he could play corner or safety. That's two
totally different skill sets. And the only reason why he probably couldn't have been super successful at it is because he was overly aggressive.
Okay.
Right. No, he had the foot quickness, he had the speed, he had the loose hips.
Well, the hips.
He had it all. He had it all. Yeah. Oh. And that's why it was playing safety was like stealing for him. Yeah, he was super gifted. I got there, I was like, whoa, this guy here is pretty good. I knew he was good, but when I played with him, I go, whoa, he's real good. I mean, he should have actually got Defensive Player of the Year. And my whole stick was to make him believe that he was the best safety in the league when I was there. And he was. I mean, he scored a punt return, interception return, block field goal return, pickup calls, fumble return. I was like, oh, my God. Every game, it was something. I was like, wow, this guy's incredible.
How big is he?
Oh, he's not there. He's 5'11".
Okay.
Yeah, 5'11", borderline 6 feet guy.
Okay.
Yeah, he was always a guy that had to keep on weight, so he was probably 190-ish up there, close to 200. Yeah.
But not even 200.
No, he wasn't overly big. Yeah.
What did you play at?
Oh, I played about 195. I was about what he was. I just, he just much more gifted than me. There's no way around it. Even in my best of years, naturally, that was my last year, so I wasn't as talented physically. But even in my prime, I couldn't. He was he was a little bit better than that. Yeah, and maybe in some areas, but most areas. he was that good.
Well,
he could return punts and been really good. No, I want no parts of returning no punts in the NFL. That ball goes way too high, and the guys are coming down like kamikazes. They're trying to actually decapitate you.
How crazy are punt returners in the NFL? They have to be crazy.
They have to be fearless.
Yes.
Fearless.
I used the wrong word. Not
fearless.
Crazy, fearless. Because like you said, it's not like the kickoff where you can kind of get a good look at everybody. You're looking up in the air the whole time. Yeah. And then if you take your gaze away, then there's a ball Think about Brett Kern's punts.
Ooh.
You're going to take a look downfield, then look back up and find one of those things again.
Yeah. That might be one of the jobs that I would be capable of doing that I probably would say, I don't care. You can't pay me enough to come back and do this. No. Punt return. Because either you're going to fumble if you peak or you're going to get waylaid. So, yeah.
Well, but when you talk about a guy like Chester Rogers or some of these other guys who are trying to make the team and they're working out as a punt returner, you've always said this. You want your punt returner to be a guy like that's how he feeds his family.
Yeah.
Like not a guy who's also something else and really good at it because he could take or leave punt returning. Like, yeah, I'm just going to fair catch this one. I got to go, I'm going to play receiver for the next series. It's all good. I'm a DB. I'm a starter.
Well, now you want the flexibility, and that guy has to bring something to the table.
Right.
He has to be a fifth, sixth guy, that can play receiver and be capable.
Right.
And the train keeps on moving. You can't be just a punt returner now. No. Got to be available. That's why I like Chester Rogers. I think he's a guy that can do that. And he's built that way. He's a short, stockier guy with lateral quickness and vertical speed. He's going to cause problems in that slot for a lot of people. I liked him before he even stepped foot on the field because I saw him with the Colts.
Well, and the punt return guy, it's not about straight line speed. It's can you get side to side? Can you be here and then, move 3 yards this way real quick? It's that whole lateral thing, that explosiveness.
Well, it's lateral initially, so don't get it confused. Then at some point, you got to hit the gap. Right, you got to hit a gap because you want to be able to make a couple guys miss, and then you got to hit vertical real quick. All of it is about explosion, which you're addressing, whether it's lateral or vertical. And they have to have great vision. They have to have a running back background at some point where they were quarterback in little leagues because they have a great feel for gaps and intuition on what's about to happen, and manipulating angles of players, setting them up. All of this is going on at the same time. So it has to be something that's just natural. You've done it 50 billion times.
Well, who is the kick returner and the punt returner for this team is going to be real interesting this year because it feels like both of them are wide open. Now, if you made me guess today who's doing what, I'd say Chester Rogers is probably the punt returner and Darrington Evans is the kick returner. If I had to guess, that's where I'd pencil them. But they do need to get more dynamic in that area.
Yeah, over the past 2
year.
or 3 years, that's kind of been the case. But, with the way that they're kicking the balls in the end zone, you don't have to be dynamic to me. You want somebody back there that can take it to the house. But, it doesn't really – I want a guy who can secure the ball, make some guys miss, and then hopefully at some point he gets to break one.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be a make or break, my season. I'd love to have consistency there. Sometimes you wish could be the same guy. But, usually it's not. The kick returner guy is a little bit different, but stockier built. He sees everything in front of him. He uses kind of a backup running back guy, but it could change. It could be a DB. To be honest, if that's what he had on his resume. I had it on my resume in high school. I did both kickoff and punt returns. When I got to college, I did none. And I tried to do them, trust me. I was like, no, I wanted to get that running back out of me.
Right.
And just say, hey, I got it. When I get my hands on the ball, nope.
Were you a fart in a skillet like Mike Eckler prefers?
That's exactly how I was. And I probably and I did not scare anybody when I farted.
Okay.
Yeah, they were still they were still gluing to me. So for whatever I was doing, they must have liked the way my fart smelled.
It's a small skillet. They were all in there with you together. We're about to get in a skillet with Matt Jones from Kentucky Sports Radio, and I guarantee you he will say things that will make you feel certain ways. He always does when he's on talking Kentucky next. Matt Jones.
The Titans and Falcons go at it in the first preseason game of the year. Continuous coverage all day tomorrow.
Into the end zone. Touchdown! Titans!
With kickoff at 6 p.m. on your home for Titans football. 104.5 The Zone.
hotline, he said. Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, 615-737-1045. Matt Jones is reaching out to us there in just a minute here from Kentucky Sports Radio. You can also catch us on Zone TV, and you can join the discussion there. Lonzo says, good afternoon, fam. Ron Slay got to the bottom of the donut discussion. He said, it's not mine. Morning crew left the donut.
Oh,
Ron
yeah,
Slay
they said,
once again stepped into the discussion.
Oh, well, yeah, they said you get more than welcome. That's why I was left here. So they said, yeah, you're more than welcome to have the leftovers. It was good too, man. So if I start acting cuckoo with all this sugar rush here, man, you'll know the reason why. If I start talking to, that, poster over there that's Coach Mack on there, then something's wrong.
That means you've had too many donuts, I think is what that
I'm glad
means.
they only had one, though, man. Oh, man, I could go for a couple more of those.
How hard is it? People say it's hard to eat just one potato chip. It's hard to eat just one donut. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm going to have multiple. If I'm having any, I'm having many.
Yeah,
That's
I
just
started
the way
eating
it's
some
gonna
chips
go.
yesterday. And it just kind of, next thing I know, half the bag was gone. I said, oh, no, this is not popcorn.
I mean, it's the same. I mean, it works just fine.
Oh, man.
Everything in moderation, right? Just don't eat, 3 bags a day or something.
No, well, a whole bag. I like my stuff spicy. I like anything hot. Hot corn chips, hot potato chips, anything hot. Hot popcorn.
Are you
Have
fine?
you ever put hot sauce on popcorn?
I have not.
Oh.
I'm not a hot sauce guy. I don't mind stuff
I-
being
I-
hot. I don't like the taste of hot sauce. I don't like vinegar.
Oh.
It tastes vinegary. I just can't get down with that.
Oh, okay. So you would never be caught eating vinegar oil for morning.
Or even like hot wings.
What?
It's that vinegar. It's that orange. It's Tabasco
Oh.
sauce. I just can't. I
Oh,
can't do
man.
it. I can eat hot food, but I don't like hot sauce. I don't, or like hot wings. Whatever that configuration of things is. It just tastes. And I got dragged on Twitter all day yesterday because I said I didn't like watermelon. So here we go again.
Oh, man. No hot wings by the mixture.
I mean, I'll eat barbecue wings or other things, but not just like
Hot wings.
buffalo wings. Buffalo sauce. That's what I don't like. No buffalo sauce.
Oh, yeah. Moderation, though. I'm with you. But I still like that hot, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That should have been your controversial food opinion yesterday.
I think the watermelon thing turned out to be way more controversial. Again, should have Matt Jones here in a second. I think the watermelon thing is way more controversial than that. I mean, I know other people who don't necessarily like hot sauce, but boy, the watermelon thing, I woke up this morning and still had some people telling me how dumb I was.
They're both controversial.
Yeah, I like spice. My stomach may not, but I definitely do. Yeah. Yeah, actually, I had barbecue yesterday for dinner. Barbecue brisket, sausage. I got one of those, platters.
Did your
Sampler, yeah.
Did your insurance guy make it, or did you get it from somewhere else?
No, I got it from somewhere else. Got it somewhere else. Yeah, brought it home to go for the wifey. She was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Hey, sometimes you got to splurge."
I mean, come on, you try and do something nice.
Yeah. Ooh, man, pork and beans.
All right, this is quite a ramp up here. Lucas is
for
still
Matt
talking-
Jones?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Lucas has had trouble getting him. So when we
Okay.
do get him, we'll talk about Kentucky this year. Obviously, they got to find a quarterback. We'll talk about that.
And now they're gonna give Tennessee a break and let them win one. Yeah, man, that's that in the Ole Miss game. I mean, yeah, naturally the Pitt game too, but in the SEC, man, UT's got to find a way to pull those off. They have to feel just as a fan like, oh yes, we're somewhat back. We're beating the people we're supposed to beat.
I just wonder, and just roll with me here. Yes, because for decades, you're always supposed to beat Vanderbilt, Kentucky, South Carolina, right? You're supposed to beat them. With the way things have changed, and Stoops has had Kentucky on a different level than they'd been in years, if I'm a Kentucky fan, I'm thinking, we're supposed to beat you. They've had trouble against Vanderbilt over the last few years. Now, last year they beat the 37 guys or whatever that Vandy sent out there pretty handily at the end of the COVID season. But I've seen a lot of smack talk coming from Vandy fans back towards Tennessee fans. So, I mean, you got Missouri, for the longest time, well, as long as they've been in the conference, I'm sure Tennessee fans think, okay, we need to beat those guys.
Yeah,
You
they beat them last year.
Yep. Got South Carolina, and you think you got them at home. You think, okay, you got to win this game.
They look at this schedule. I really believe they can win 6 games. I mean, Bowling Green, Tennessee Tech, South Alabama, and Vanderbilt. That's 4 right there.
Yep.
Then you say, okay, you got South Carolina. I think you got to get that one. That's 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
At
so
home.
then it doesn't even matter, really. It's South Carolina. I mean, they should be able to beat them. And then you got, okay, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Missouri. You got to find a way to maybe win 2 of those. And then that could put you at 7. But if you don't, you at least can win 1 of those 3. So that puts you at 6. And I know you're talking about the Georgia, Alabama, the teams that Florida. That's a rivalry. So to a certain extent, so you never know what happened. But it's at Florida, though.
So the media poll in the East has Georgia, Florida, then Kentucky 3rd, then Missouri, Tennessee, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt.
I think Tennessee is going to be better. I just think the league is going to have to adapt that first year to the fast pace of the offense that they're putting up there. You can't duplicate that in practice. They can talk about all they want to in film and everything else. I think it's going to give them a little bit of edge, and then next thing you know, teams are going to have to catch back up. So it's going to catch either Ole Miss, Missouri, or Kentucky, and that's where you're going to get that 6th win out of one of those 3. And you may be able to pull off, one. It depends on what kind of role you get into as far as, confidence, how things are going with the quarterback, no major injuries, because they're going to have to outscore people. I don't know, we don't know much about what they're going to be doing on defense, really, even what scheme they're going to be playing. So until we see it in the works, I think, and there's no pressure. And now there's always pressure in the SEC,
Right.
but the expectations are, man, if you finish 6-6, that's awesome.
Oh, 6-6.
Yes. So
I would
think
look at Heupel and say, you got it going in the
guess
right
what, then?
direction.
You play looser as a player. Because guess what? You have nothing to lose. It can't get any worse than it's been. So, I think they're going to be all right. I think Heupel's going to do a good job, and I think they're going to do I think they're going to win 6 games. I'm putting it out. I think they're going to win 6 games. I really believe that. Looking at their schedule tells me that. They have to.
I'm in on the 6 with you as well. I'm in on that. While we wait on Matt Jones, we're efforting him. Tommy from Nashville has called in, wants to talk about the Vols. Tommy, thanks for calling, man. How you doing?
I'm all right. Blaine,
Yes, sir.
apparently you didn't watch the UT spring game. Because if we beat anybody, we're going to have to outscore them.
Outscore them.
Because that defense, I think it could be worse than last year. I hope I'm wrong, but it looked really bad in the spring game. As far as I'm concerned, there's no speed. The offense, and I think our coach is going to do a great job, but I just think for right now, he didn't have much to work with because they seemed like they didn't have any team speed, and I definitely hope I'm wrong. I hope you're right about. I'd take 6-6, absolutely.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, 6-6.
Tommy, thank you
And
for the call.
no question, the offense is ahead of the defense. It's because it's an offense-led team by the head coach. That doesn't mean that the defense can't gain confidence and grow and get better as the season goes along. That's why I said they're going to have to outscore people and get people on their heels early in games. And that no-huddle fast. I mean, when you watch the spring game, they were snapping the ball within like 12 seconds. When the ball was out, man, that is fast. That's
And you were there. So
Yeah,
for
I
people
was
who
there.
wonder,
Yeah, I was
you
there.
saw it with your own eyes.
I was like, whoa. Matter of fact, you already have to know what coverage you're going to be in defense you're running really before. It's not enough time.
Right.
So I think they were using like boards as telling everybody what to do. I couldn't see the board, but yeah, I mean, I think that's going to get some people. I really do early. And you don't know it. They can say, oh, early. Well, I'm talking about early in games because you think you practicing and going against warp speed, but they were going hyper warp speed. It was, again, the defense wasn't getting lined up, and that's how they were beating them deep. It wasn't like they were running something extensive, like some real complex offense. It wasn't that. Guys were just running a straight line, running by guys because they weren't set and ready to go, and then boom, next thing you know, the guy's up in his face and he's bombed. I mean, the one guy is the guy who owns his own company. He caught like 2 or 3 touchdowns. Do we think have they mentioned his name as a player that's going to be playing in this year? No.
No, he only got mentioned for owning his own company.
Right. He had 100-some yards in the spring game.
Oh,
they
my.
haven't mentioned that he's going to be an impactful player.
Okay.
So that shows you that, if you want to, I want to call it finesse trickery, but it's, beating somebody to the punch. And until you get lined up, then beat us. Then that's what we're going to do then. Run right down your throat if you try to play deep coverages. So I just believe that they're gonna win 6 games. Is the defense going to be good? It doesn't really matter because guess what? You want to entice the fans to be there. And if they're there and they want to see excitement and you win 40-38, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. You won. And it was exciting to watch. And I think it will be. I think it will be.
It's funny.
I think the defense is going to be better than people think, though.
Well,
I mean, because you can only think the worst right now.
Right.
But now the style of defense that you play, it'll be interesting. And you've been kind of hitting on it too, all this time about do you run a blitzing style defense or do you play a cover 2-4 style defense? What's going to be your base principle? Do you run a 3-4-4-3? Hybrid 5-2-4, whatever, all these guys are running with the, extra defensive back. So I just don't know. Then they won't tell us because they've asked that question multiple times to the DC Banks. And he says, hey, we're going to be multiple.
The M word. Had you ever heard the word multiple so much before the last few years? I mean, even if people were multiple, they didn't go around saying it in every press conference.
Nah, I just think it is with the way the game is going. That's just a terminology where you can say you can still be playing a linebacker even if you're playing a DB. It's still all the same. It's just that you're going to do something differently in those, packages. So, now not as much as you hear it now, but you see it. That's what everybody's going to go to now because everybody's throwing the ball around the yard. It's 3 receivers all the time.
Yep.
All the time.
Well, when you talk about having an extra DB or not, the SEC's think about how many points. Nobody scores like Alabama has been scoring, but everybody scores a ton of points.
Oh yeah, Ole Miss.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
the game. They play that at home. Old Lane Kiffin.
Yep.
I'm coming home. Yep, he's coming home. Can
Would
they
their-
win that game?
would
Can they
their-
outscore them?
With their defense, though, I'm just talking about Ole Miss.
Well, that was last year's defense. Well, they got a new DC, I think, or some new players.
Would they have at least maybe a little bit better understanding because they go against Lane Kiffin's offense every day in practice? I know it's different than Heupel's, not as fast probably, but maybe some similar principles. They want to get to the next play, get things going.
I think it would help them out over other teams, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it still won't be the same. Nobody can really do it, unless they're doing it right now. Depending, they wouldn't be doing it so soon. But, yeah, you're right. And they're going into their second year, so they'll be a little more polished on offense. They know who their guys are. They got a great quarterback.
Yep.
Tennessee is still trying to figure out who that guy is, and I think everybody knows.
I know. You always
Milton.
you should just wink when you say that because you said for a long time they went and got their guy. They got their guy. Nobody else on the
After
roster.
spring ball, they
Right.
figured out these guys, little hit or miss here. They're a little inconsistent there. Will they be good backups? Absolutely. Milton is really going to have to crap in his pants to really not be the guy. And that doesn't mean that the first game they play in Bowling Green, MAC action, that they don't play multiple guys because they get up, you would assume. SEC team versus a MAC school. So, I don't see it any other way. Why did you do all that? I mean, if not, then he's entering the portal. He hadn't even played it down. Like, what did I come here for? You told me I would be competing to start. Because nobody should be promising anybody a job and say, hey, you'll have a great opportunity here. You'll be able to compete for playing time.
If I came out of the spring, or if I came out of the spring and they said, hey, man, I want you to meet Joe Milton. He just got here from Michigan. This is a transfer. And I looked at this dude and I looked at the coaches and I thought, wait a second, we've all been here. You've seen what we can all can do. And then you still go get this guy. I'd be like, what's the number for the transfer portal again? Because I got to get somewhere for fall camp so I can compete to start there. If I ever felt like I was going to leave, like that would seem like a good time to go. So you could identify the next place and go ahead and get there. Because you think about it, if Maurer says, I know he hasn't hit the portal yet, but he hasn't practiced in 2 days. I mean, he's not going to go anywhere and have a chance to do anything now.
He has no shot.
It's just
So basically,
shot.
they lied and manipulated young men when they knew what they were going to do, and they should have told one of the guys, at least one, that, hey, man, it's probably time for you to go somewhere else. Once they got Joe Milton, and I ain't say like now, I'm talking about once he got there, they could have had like 2 months to at least go somewhere else and then learn the playbook and have a chance to actually compete to start at whatever level and what school. Could have been an FCS school. It didn't matter. It's just, yeah, I don't think they were honest. At some point when this continues to happen like this now with the transfer portal and all this, social media and everything, some players are going to start calling coaches out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what's going to happen because they're going to call the BS. Yeah, these kids are much more, smarter and they understand what's going on. Hey, man, you signed a highly recruited guy and you bring him after spring ball. And, oh, by the way, y'all been helping him learn the playbook when we're not practicing? What? Well, it doesn't sound like you like any of us then.
Yeah.
That's how I'd be looking at it. So you got to read the tea leaves. Here's what I always say. It's what I say to my son. Forget what people say. Their actions speak for them and louder. Their actions. When they signed Milton, their action was telling all three of those guys, and don't. And people who come here and talk, oh, you just need to compete. No. Dumb. No. We're not good enough. And see, they should be honest and say, hey, you're not quite there. We want to see some more consistency. It's why we brought in Joe Milton.
Right.
Yeah, and see how they like that when you tell them the truth. Because most of the coaches aren't doing that. They're going to finesse, finagle, talk around it. Yeah. And Mauer's Mauer's played. And he played as a freshman, so he got a little tease. Then his second year, he played a little bit. Then, he got injured a lot. So you go, I've had a taste of it. I know I can play in this league. Whether he's consistent or not, he knows he can play in this league. The crowd favorite is always going to be Harrison Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as Milton throws an interception, it's going that way. It's going to go, they're going to call for the next guy. Or a loss when the quarterback didn't play so well.
Well, and they played some of these early season games real close in recent years, and then they lost to Georgia State. And I'm not saying that's necessarily going to happen again.
Which should never happen.
It should never happen. You should never.
They took it to them, too.
They did. But you've got to, you were talking about this. When you should blow out those. Yeah, Tennessee Tech, they're going to blow out.
Those,
but you should
check games.
Right.
Those check games.
Check games, you should blow them out. And everybody should be in the fourth quarter and halfway through the third. And you should be playing guys and letting guys just soak up as many reps as they can. But if you remember, there were games in the past, like the end of the Butch era and into the Pruitt era, where they would either lose the game or it's the fourth quarter and they're still trying to win those games. The starters are still out there.
I really don't believe that. The Bowling Green and the Tennessee Tech, I think they're going to win those games. Pittsburgh would make me really nervous. They always have a really good team, especially on the defensive side.
Yep.
Yeah. Coach Bates, he was actually my coach at St. Joseph. He's my defensive coordinator at St. Joseph's College. Yeah. Coach Bates, he's still there doing his thing.
We got Scott and Bethpage. He wants to do his thing next. Scott, it's a quick break. Hold on. We'll get to you on the other side on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. You want to weigh in on any of this, join the discussion, and feel free to hit Matt Jones up on Twitter and say, hey, man, thanks. Thanks for standing us up. He was confirmed, that rascal.
Wait till I get him. He's going to try to come on tomorrow with it. Hey, my guys, yeah. Nah. Your couch is on fire right now. Go check your house.
Scott, you don't need to check your house. You'll be up next. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone.
Want to listen to the Titans on your smartphone?
Gonna run Henry. Finds room up the middle. He's through 35 to the 40. Midfield. 40, 30, 20, 10, 5. End zone. Ladies and gentlemen, 69 yards. Derrick Henry. Touchdown! Titans!
Get Mike Keith and Coach Mack calling every Titans game by downloading the 104.5 The Zone app.
It's nothing like just having some discussion. We just put up a tweet. By the way, I appreciate you guys giving us a follow. We've had a bunch of new followers lately at Blaine and Mickey on Twitter. Number one Titans fan said, Blaine, have you tried these? It's a bag of Miss Vicky's jalapeno chips. I've actually had those. I like those.
No, I haven't had those.
They're like those kettle chips, real crunchy, jalapenos.
Oh.
Yeah, they're good.
Okay, I'm going to try that.
No doubt. They're good.
Somebody
called Bucks today and said I say no doubt too much, and I just said no doubt those are good chips.
Oh, you did?
I'm on brand.
What? Oh, did they say what I say all the time? What do I
Also,
say?
apparently, also no doubt.
Oh.
That's our thing. So we should just have all bunk music from the band. No doubt, we'll stay on brand.
Well, I'm sure I probably do say that on occasion, depending on if we agree or not.
Right. When you don't say that. You tell me why you disagree.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hey, no doubt. We got to go to the phone. Scott in Bethpage was kind enough to hold through the break. Scott, thanks for jumping in the discussion on Blaine and Mickey.
Hey, guys. I listened to the show, and he was pretty hard on y'all for saying no doubt. So, obviously, it's time to start up a segment called the No Doubt segment.
Ooh,
But anyway,
good idea.
Hey, Scott, here's all I would have to say to anybody who called and said what we said all during our show. Do you know what that is? I would say thank you for listening. I would say thank you for listening. Because how would you know what we say if you don't listen? Yeah. So you can count no doubts all day. Just keep listening.
Count no doubts. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, we all need more to do if we're counting no doubts.
Yeah.
But
No doubt.
anyway,
No doubt.
all right, Blaine, I don't want to be too hard on you because I wasn't sure if I heard it all in context because I had to get out of my vehicle.
Okay.
So did you mention or suggest that they might have manipulated Maurer to stay?
Oh, absolutely.
And
probably
sign up with camp. Did I miss that? I want to make sure I'm right.
Well, when I say manipulated, and it's not just Maurer, it's all of them because your actions told us that you signed Milton. You brought him in after you watched us all through spring ball. So yeah, they manipulated all of them because you should be asking the question. Why did we bring in another quarterback? Now, by the way, we're not even going to mention the quarterbacks that are walk-ons that are still there too as well.
Right, and I get that, but here's the thing about Bailey and Maurer. They both had plenty of opportunities to take that job. And, I mean, they could have not only taken the job, they could have taken it to the bank and cashed it and got a hell of a return. They had multiple opportunities to be the guy. Now, instead of the coaches having to sit them down and say, hey, you need to go somewhere else, or let's look at the portal, let's look at what's best for you. I think the players, it needs to be on them a little bit and their families to figure out, hey, I've not taken the reins of this thing yet, man. Maybe I need to start looking at what's a better fit for me. So, I think they both had plenty of opportunities, and I don't think it's the coach's job to sit them down and say, okay, it's time for you to go. Let them be men and figure it out for themselves in some instances. But now I'm not cracking on Maurer. I love the kid. I hope good things for him, and I would never do or say anything to degrade him because of especially of his mental issues and all that. Right. But it really is up to the kid and their family sometimes to say, hey, this is not a fit for me. And he had plenty of opportunities. Right. Hold on. He had a chance to roll up Alabama, and he could not stay on the field. He couldn't stay healthy. And then when he got better and was healthy, he could not take over.
Okay, and I'm going to say this for all the guys. Hold on for 1 second, though. Listen to this and tell me what you would do. That was with another staff. What you did with another – this is me as hypo. That was with another staff what you did. You have to prove it here first. You have a new opportunity here to be the starting quarterback. Everybody's going to get a fair shot. So show me what you can do in the spring, and you get your fair shot. This is what I say when I mean by manipulating. This is what was probably said to all of them. All of them. It had nothing to do with the previous staff. This is why players leave schools, because the staff backed them. So new staff comes in. Who did they bring in? They're bringing in their guy. See,
my family. I'm gonna lean on my family and counsel with anybody else that's not directly related to the coaching staff, and I'm gonna say, okay, they've done this. This coach is not a defensive guy. He's a quarterback coach. He knows good quarterback, and he knows what's going to fit him. I would have taken the cue and got out of Dodge before fall camp started.
And I agree. That's what I said.
I can see your side of it. I do see your side of it. I don't think Heupel is manipulating them as much as maybe he's letting them. Hopefully, he's letting them be men and try to figure it out for themselves in some instances. But that would have been a big red flag to me as well. Bringing him in on day one,
obviously,
I would have exited. It'd have been an exodus.
Right.
Thanks,
And
guys.
that's
I love
all I
you
was
guys.
trying to say. Yeah, that's all I was trying to say. As soon as they signed Milton, they saw you guys all during the spring. Obviously, you didn't cut the snuff. See? That's it. The actions tell you what the coaches were actually thinking. And some people are like, no, still there, compete. The competition was over.
I got to listen to the show and listen to Matt Jones, so I can at least punk on y'all for that too.
We tried to get him. We don't know where it is. He goes.
He said he
he
could join
said
us
it.
tomorrow, though.
Of course
that
he
sucker.
did. Scott, thank you for the call, man.
Oh, man, I'm going to put that old fist on my hand over there for him tomorrow. And it's blue, by the way, too.
Well,
Kentucky blue.
And I understand all of Scott's points, but I'll say this too, having
No,
worked.
I completely actually agree with them. But there's a point in time you go, I showed you everything in spring until all the three quarterbacks that were competing to start. Then you bring in a fourth guy, and it wasn't to compete. There's no kind. He was rotating with the ones immediately when they started practicing.
And ultimately, what he said was he agreed with what you said. He was just like, hey, man, read the handwriting on the wall and get the heck out of there. Before,
right.
Leave after the spring and go find your job
They
to
could
compete
have
for
had
the fall.
2 months to be somewhere else right now.
Learn it, the whole system. Here's the other thing, and I'll just say this. It's a part of this deal that nobody talks about. And he said, I'd talk to my family and some of these kids don't have anybody to give them good advice.
And that's why I use the word manipulate, because they know this. They know this. Most of the families aren't going to be that good at extrapolating what actually is really going on. They're believing what you tell them. Oh, man, he's doing a great job. Yeah, he's running with the threes, though. Well, how great of a job is he actually doing?
Right.
He's running with the threes, coach.
I mean, we have two kids who were homeless, like one who hadn't seen her mom in years and her dad was in jail. Where's she going to get who's going to tell her, who in the world is going to help that kid make a decision?
So it's a fine line when you're in that coach's spot because you don't know for sure if Milton's going to come in and be the dude. You think he can be. So you're trying to cover your behind by making sure you tell him, hey, we're going to compete and we'll see how it goes during the fall camp. And you did a pretty good job in your mind. You thought you did a pretty good job.
Right?
Thought you did a pretty good job. Obviously, the coaches didn't think so.
Well,
And I said this when they immediately signed Milton. Nobody was like, oh, no, it doesn't mean that. I think there's a lot of patting on the back going on down there and happy-go-lucky and being all positive. So I can't wait to ask Doug Mathews about this. Oh, we're having a great time at practice. Football is hard. I mean hard, especially right now when it's 90-something degrees out there. Everything ain't supposed to be hunky-dory. And this is all my buddy. When you snap that trend snap, it's time to go to work. Let's go to work. And that sometimes work ain't fun. It's not fun.
Well, we got to go to work for a whole nother hour. Hour 2 of Blaine and Mickey coming up, including Doug Mathews. We've been talking Tennessee on the show. We'll just keep it up. You want to join the discussion, Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, 615-737-1045, or keep the conversation going on Twitter at Blaine and Mickey.
Jason Martin and Ramon Foster might have the mics, but the show is about you, the fam.
You guys are the show. We have some microphones. That means you can hear us. We want to hear you. We want to know you. You guys are just like us. Just like us. We might be in a different position in terms of our voice can be heard by more people. You know what else it doesn't mean? It doesn't mean that your voice doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that ours matters any more than yours does. We just love you guys.
J. Martin Ramon, tomorrow, starting at 6 on 104.5 The Zone.
A lot of employees really
Twitter, however you want to join us there. Cousin Mark, always in the discussion. Tower. We have USMC Drew, who says, we were talking about Tennessee and Kentucky. Would Tennessee beat Kentucky or vice versa? He said, ain't going to happen. UK is a way better football team. Talked a lot of Tennessee Vols in the first hour. College football season's right around the corner. We'll continue to do that.
Wait.
We're actually going to talk a lot of Vols coming up with Doug Mathews here in the next segment.
Yeah, Dougie Fresh.
So I think he's been
perspective.
No doubt. I think he's been nosing around Knoxville too, Blaine. So he might have some boots on the ground.
Did they
perspective.
have a scrimmage today?
I believe they did.
Yeah, they might have a scrimmage. Oh man, those scrimmages. Oh man, they're just so grueling. Oh man, as a player, scrimmage. Your own team, you just get tired of practice against them. Yeah, it's not the same. A scrimmage and the intensity to that in a real game is just it's night and day. Night and day. Scrimmages are always tougher to me. Ugh.
Well, and Coach Mack was on with us earlier this week, and he brought something up. He was telling us the Titans they were doing some call-it periods. And he goes, meaning none of it's script. Nobody knows what plays next. They're calling the plays live. You do stuff like that. That's more intense for everybody.
I love those times.
Boy,
because I used to let loose. And, okay, then it's like a real game.
Yep. And you can feel it. If you're standing at practice and everybody's getting a drink of water or whatever, and they're like on the hop and they go to the next period and it's call it and it's live. Now, they're not out there trying to take each other's heads off hitting.
No.
But they're playing as hard and as fast as they can play in practice, and it's all unscripted. So it's, like you said, it's as close as you can simulate to a game out there.
Yeah. And when we say scripted, a lot of people may not understand. They already have the play sheet already down on offense and then counterpart of defense. Now, the players may not actually know the plays that are going against each other, but you're understanding that it's scripted. So, whatever you're doing may make it tougher for you on defense or make it easier for offense or vice versa, make it tougher for the offense, and the defense will be a little bit easier depending on the call sheet. So, and then you're always breaking down different type of scenarios and periods of a game that you can't really practice. So that's always fun and exciting because it's not the general, same thing over and over, just different periods. 11 on 11 and 7 on 7. It brings new excitement when, all right, offense over there, defense over here. I mean, it's about as much as excitement is if, the kicker kicks a game winner and they go, whoever, loses this one is going to be running after practice.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of that kind of excitement. So fun excitement, but at the same time, you're preparing and getting yourself ready for an actual game through eye discipline in scenarios for every position, which is always key to your success in playing fast.
How much the Titans do some drills, not like anybody who ever played, they have the Oklahoma drill, if you ever played football or whatever your team called it, lineman, whatever configuration. If you ever played football, you did some of that. The Titans do, and it's more of a thud thing now. And I've seen them do a little bit beyond thud at times, although not in any of the practice I've been at this year. It's just been more of a thud. But you're back to back on go.
How about this is an individual period?
Individual against individual. So it'd be like you as a safety against me as a running back. And you go back to back, they blow the whistle, you each run around a cone and come back, and there's just a short space you've got to work within. Yeah. And they're not trying to blow each other up. It's more thud or touch. You smack them on the hips. How much of that kind of stuff did you guys do? I imagine obviously you did a lot more hitting because you wore pads twice a day. How much individual stuff like that versus one guy? And you were actually trying to hit or tackle each other?
Well, we did it every day. The individual drill. The whole concept is everybody's an individual for a certain amount of time. Usually it's about 20 minutes. And when you're talking about everybody at your position group, you're probably doing something like that. You'll probably get 2 reps. And I think that drill is very beneficial. We didn't do that drill a lot, but I love that drill.
Yeah.
I love that drill. Because it teaches you angles. It teaches you where to put your feet as a defender, how to get your feet and when to explode, whether you're tagging off, you're thudding up, which is using your shoulder pads and bringing your arms. And also you must understand where your help is. And that really was one of the things that really perturbed me if I got in a game. If a guy's outside, and so I know he's out there, on my side, on my team, on defense, and I'm coming inside out, and I'm forcing them to you, and then all of a sudden you jump inside so a guy can't block you. So now you basically ran into me and blocked me. I'd be like, what the heck are you doing? And not in that kind of vocabulary. And so it teaches angles and everything else. So I love that drill. I love when I even watch it. Yeah, because sometimes you can say, oh, he would have missed him. And sometimes you say, nah, he would have got him. I think the drill I was watching, one of them was Rashaan Evans. And I wasn't sure if he could have got him or not. A lot of people saying he would have missed. But I wasn't so sure because he was close enough.
When I tweet him and McMath?
Right, exactly. And I go, well, in a real game, he would have he didn't have to dive, but he could have got off his feet and he would have tackled the guy. So, even though he cut inside. But the one thing I don't like about what Evans did is you play inside out. And if he beats you, make him outrace you.
Right.
Make him outrace you. And that's the part he's overplaying. And that happens in a game. You become overly aggressive. It's something that you must learn to be patient as a tackler. Trust me, it didn't come overnight for me either. It probably took a couple of Barry Sanders shakes right on the road when I was a rookie. That in his last year, they're like, I got to slow down and be patient. Let the runner commit, then you commit. And then you must play inside out. Take a side. Doesn't matter what side you take something away. The real elite players, you think you took it away, and they'll act like they're going to go the opposite, and then they come right back to what you thought you took away. Emmitt Smith right there.
Well, you've talked a lot about, like, hey, man, use the sideline. That's a whole other defender. Or when a team is working near the goal line in the red zone, I don't want to mess this up, but just make them throw over you. Yeah. Because the field is so short behind you. You talked about this in a game. Just make them throw over you. It's almost impossible.
To take that to the next level, why are you backpedaling into the end zone? The goal is to get past that line you just backed up.
Right.
So if you're on the 5-yard line, do not move. Put your heels and stamp them right there at the edge of the goal line. I see it all the time. And then make them run around you and them throw over the top of you.
That's it. Make them run around you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then now the accuracy in that space is hard to do. So you got to have a long, tall guy that can get up to go get it. I saw Dory do that. He was coming back from injury. So sometimes you lose sight where you're at. Sometimes like the middle of the road is like if you're at the 15. And so now you're backpedaling probably about 3. It's a field thing. And then you go, something has to break right here. So stop. Stop there. When I don't mean say stop completely, I mean get your feet moving, ready to move in, out, or turn around, speed turn and go for the fade route. Don't let them run a post route and then you're outside leverage and then it's a touchdown. That's another big boo-boo for me. Everything is inside when you get in the red zone. Make them go outside. I don't care if they call cover 3. Be smart enough to play inside. Because you cover 3, they can still get the seam post in there. Get right there low inside, you have no shot. Touchdown. So, no, you take the inside away. So there's a lot of things you have to go through as a player, and you end up doing them. And some of them is coached and some of it is not. But through your experience, through your time playing, you got to know what you can get away with as a player. These guys are so elite and so great as athletes. You got to find that happy medium where you can make plays, too, at the same time.
Well, I love that inside stuff where you've talked about this, and Dice too. And by the way, we'll be doing, thanks to our friends at Lee Company, we'll be doing pre and post again this year, before and after.
Starting tomorrow.
No doubt. Titans Talk Back presented by Lee Company after the game, where you sound off on everything. The 3 of y'all are going to handle the pregame stuff for us tomorrow. But it was fascinating because you said, I learned over time, like that's like having another teammate. Just out of bounds, okay, or out of the back of the end zone. That's help. Just make a guy.
Except if it's Randy Moss, he can just go up there and moss you.
Right. Freaks like him don't count. Or just like you said, and I couldn't remember the other thing. You said, I would make guys run around me because by the time you've done that, you've messed up the timing of everything they're trying to do.
Hopefully your front 4 can get there or blitz or whatever you got going on to get there. And so I said it's about the timing. Pressure with DBs, oh, man, you don't know how much that can help a DB or hurt a DB and expose you because you can't guard these guys. You can't hold as much as you used to. There's it's an offensive game now. So you're battling to survive and not get beat more than anybody else, really. And you have to believe that you can make plays and become an offensive player at defensive back now. That's it. Got to be able to make plays because you will get beat.
Yeah.
There's no way around it now. So, yeah, hopefully the Titans will be beating more people than they will be getting beat.
I'm so fascinated by what this defense is going to do this year. I'm just fascinated by it. I cannot wait to see what this defense does this year.
Oh, by the way, it's not like some of the players will have practice against Arthur Smith. But there are going to be a lot of players that hadn't practiced against that offense of Arthur Smith. So, what are we expecting? Even in a preseason game.
Well, I'm expecting a whole lot of starters maybe to not play, but I do want to see what happens. All right, we'll get into that more at the end of the show. When we come back, though, UT Talk with our buddy Doug Mathews. The coach is going to join us. You don't want to miss a minute of it. He's been in Knoxville, it's my understanding. He knows what's going on. We'll get all the latest on the Vols next, the Brian Maurer situation, and more with Doug Mathews, Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone.
The NFL preseason is finally here, and the Titans pay an early visit to Julio Jones' former team, the Atlanta Falcons. Mike Keith and Coach Mack have the kickoff tomorrow night at 6.
Finger roll! Touchdown! Titans!
On your home for Titans football and flagship for Titans radio, 104.5 The Zone.
anytime Coach is on. This is our opportunity to tell you drunk you makes bad decisions. So make a plan before you party. The Tennessee State Highway Office reminds you that fans don't let fans drive drunk. Coach Mathews, how in the world are you?
Doing very well. Hope you are. I know Blaine's always doing well. So good to be on with you again.
Coach, I've had Blaine all fired up today. We're just talking about like how he got up for games and things like that. Let me ask you, because if people don't know, they know you as a coach. You're also one heck of a football player as well. How did you get yourself psyched up on game days? Like, what did you do to get yourself in the right frame of mind?
As a coach?
No, as a player.
Oh, as a player.
Yeah, he was a good. We're talking
I didn't know what you were asking.
Yeah, big time running back. What did you do to get yourself psyched up as a player?
You know, I just really loved to play. There wasn't anything I had to do to get psyched up as a player. Now, part of that was because I was a quarterback primarily and through high school and junior college, and then even though I played defense 1 year, I was a running back. So it is easier to be a skilled position player. There's no doubt about that. But I actually enjoyed practice. I really did. It was fun for me. I knew from an early age I was probably going to be a coach. Certainly knew it all the way through my playing career, but it was I enjoyed it. I really did. I enjoyed practice when I was coaching. Also, I really enjoyed the practices as a coach more than I did the games.
Well, you coached under the great Johnny Majors, September 11th, Pittsburgh versus University of Tennessee. And if you know Coach Majors' history, you know he made his mark certainly at both of those schools, the Johnny Majors Classic. It made a lot of people smile when they heard about that. I'm sure it did for you as well.
Well, what a great decision. I think this was probably started being talked about several years ago when this game was set. Of course, Coach Majors at that time was alive, and he didn't make it to this one. But believe me, he'll be greatly remembered. I had the opportunity to go up into the Pittsburgh area with Coach Majors recruiting a couple of times. And believe me, he always took an opportunity to spend the night. I'd love to stay in big old hotels. I don't know the name of the one we stayed in, but it was downtown. It was downtown Pittsburgh. And we went out that night, had dinner, a few other things with some of his buddies. And believe me, he was like Chuck Noll up there in college. He was extremely well thought of. And obviously came to Tennessee and had rebuilt the program at Tennessee and got it going strong again. And this is a perfect game to do this. And I would just imagine the way that they do things up there, that this will be quite the honor for the Majors family and for Coach Majors and his immediate family.
No doubt. Coach Doug Mathews joins us on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Coach, naturally the scrimmage was today. I guess give us, your overall view of what, you thought you saw and didn't see, and maybe what you wanted to see.
Well, kind of interesting. Of course, one of the reasons they let me come to these scrimmages is because I don't talk a whole lot about individuals
right,
and things.
Of course.
There certainly are some things to discuss. I normally kind of feed off what the head coach says afterwards. I did hear what Coach Heupel had to say. Interestingly enough, I drove up there this morning. The morning was a morning practice, morning scrimmage, and it was ended early enough that I'm back at my home in Brentwood now, doing the show. So
nice.
And caught you all coming in and heard the whole show so far that you all have done. But I think a couple of things that kind of stood out, and I don't know exactly what Coach Heupel said, but I can pretty much nail it. I think pretty much defensively. I think, I was surprised at how well they looked defensively. In good positioning, you can tell they've really worked hard against that no huddle offense. And let me just simply say this: I don't know. I went up last spring, kind of watched a little of it. I don't know what I expected from a tempo, but whatever it was faster than even I thought. They run plays quickly. I mean, really quickly. But defensively, I thought they really played well. They went pretty much ones against twos. Now, I'm sure they don't know exactly who the ones are and who the twos are on both sides, but they got a good idea on probably 90% of the positions. And what stood out, Blaine, and I know you'll know this from early practices, offensively, if you've been watching any of the video that UT sends out to some of their website partners, they throw passes against there, then they go 7-on-7 and skeleton, and they against there, and then they got out there today and there was some pass rush. They weren't allowed to hit the quarterbacks, but I'm going to say pretty conservatively on both sides of the ball. With both with both defenses against both offenses. I'm going to say there was maybe 8 or 9 sacks, and the quarterbacks. And this is normal. They're not used to getting the ball out of their hands, and when pressure comes, they hold it a little bit longer because they can in practice. That's what's so important about having scrimmages. Really, it's more important from a quarterback perspective, I think, than any other position. It's important for all of them, but particularly the quarterback position. They'll correct that. They went with all 3 quarterbacks, and I think it looked like they got pretty equal time. They did the same offensively both ways, on both with all 3 quarterbacks. I don't know what their stats are. Sometimes down and distance determines that, but looked to me like they got them pretty equal time, all 3 of them.
Yeah, I'm looking here from some of the quotes. I'm just now seeing some of them from Coach Heupel. He just said, kind of reaffirming what you're saying is I don't think offensively we strung things together like we needed to. So would you say this was a scrimmage where the defense won in totality?
If I were graded, let me put it this way, Blaine. If I was a defensive coordinator, I would be very happy with what I saw today. Now, you're always going to have the caveats. We got to get better than this and that. But remember, they could potentially start very easily. They could potentially start 4 senior defensive backs and 3 senior defensive linemen. So they got some experience over there. So I think that from that perspective, they have talent. They have some senior leadership. Again, I thought they lined up very well. And offensively, they've with Calvert now being out, they're going to have to move some guys around the offensive line. I'm sure they don't have that all set. But defensively, like I said, I know Coach Heupel had to be pleased with it too. He knows he's going to have a good offense.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Most Tennessee fans that follow this program know that defensively, where coming in, it appears that's going to be the problem area. This was just one scrimmage, but I wouldn't. Like I said, I was very encouraged. If I was coaching that group, I'd be very encouraged from what I saw out there because they were flying around to the ball. They were lining up. They got good pressure from their up front folks, and it looked like they have maybe 8 or 10 younger guys that hadn't played much in this first scrimmage that looks significantly better than what I saw last spring.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about it. They got those reps, and now they have that experience, and that leads to confidence. Well, with Coach Doug Mathews, and one more for me, and that is everybody wants to know, you just said 3 quarterbacks, so I'm assuming Maurer wasn't out there, and what is the anticipation of what's going on, why he's not out there?
Maurer was not out there. Of course, he missed the practice, the practice prior. Guessing, I did not even ask. I talked to 4 or 5 of the coaches afterwards, didn't even ask, but Blaine, I don't, anybody that's been around, you don't have to be around it. I think it's pretty apparent there that probably we knew that of these 4 quarterbacks that there was going to be maybe one of them, maybe 2 that leave. And I think probably Brian Maurer, certainly not official, hadn't heard anything to tell me anything different, but I would think that he's probably going to be the first one that will leave. I would not be surprised if not another one, although I don't know that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, with Coach Doug Mathews.
Coach, how soon do you think until they name a starter? And I know there was a timetable hinted at from the very beginning, but how long? I guess realistically, you would want somebody to have just won this job, and you'd say this guy's the starter. He's getting all the number 1 reps. I would imagine they want to do it as soon as possible. When do you think they will do it?
Well, the first game is 3 weeks from tonight, as a matter of fact. So that gives them 21 days. They'll probably use 19, maybe 18 of those as actual practices and take off. Normally, the rule of thumb has always been, I would suspect it's going to be somewhere around that date, that about 10 days before the first game. That's when, you know who your travel team's going to be, and your travel team is going to tell you who the rotational players are. And then the players that have not made the travel team or the rotational team, they're the ones that go down. And we all had to go through this at some point, and be scout squad players, or be the demonstration team. That's normally 10 days before. Like I said, I really believe, barring injury, probably of their 22 starting positions, they got 19 of them pretty much set, I would guess. The quarterback position, I think, is still going to be a little up in the air. It is very clear. I heard you all talking about this. I had not actually seen Milton in person, but it's easy to see why they brought him in. He's got a strong arm. He's a big guy. He can run. He's already graduated. He's going to grad school. So that means if he doesn't want to go to class, I'm not saying he doesn't want to, but if he doesn't, he probably won't. Gonna cram a lot of stuff in there too. I think Hooker may have already graduated also. So Milton is a tremendously talented player. If you just went on talent alone, you would have to say this guy can probably play a lot of different places. Now, we know you just can't go on talent alone on that, but he's impressive. I thought Hooker looked good, and Bailey threw the ball well. I mean, all of them, they protected him. You don't know what's going to happen when it's not two-hand touch, but all three of them had their moments in this ball game, and the two in particular, Milton and Hooker, look so athletic. That's not Bailey's game. Bailey's a guy that's going to have to stay in the pocket. But I'll remind folks that that's what Mac Jones was last year at Alabama. So you can win, and you can win big still in today's football with a pocket passer.
It's interesting, Coach, because a lot of times, especially in college football, if you've got several guys vying for the spot, well, one of them's always some hotshot freshman that's never played a game. That's not the case at Tennessee. Even Maurer had started games. They all have experience starting college football games at the highest level.
Absolutely. Hooker, of course, at Virginia Tech, and Bailey, I don't know exactly how many he started over the last couple of years, but he certainly played, a good amount. So they've all had playing reps. I think they all know what to expect. They all know what this coach wants. And whichever one of these guys, or hopefully two of these guys, I guess hopefully you'd like to have all three of them, they're going to be able to really run this offense, because once you see this thing, we see it on TV, but once you see it in person, I mean, literally, they try to get that ball snapped in 6 or 7 seconds, and that's almost impossible to do. You got to get 11 offensively. You got to get them set for 1 second, so that only leaves you 5 or 6 to get them there. But I would say whoever can do that will have the inside track on this. One thing I wanted to mention too, I'm sure that the coach was positive about this. There was not a single ball laying on the ground because of a fumble, not much less lose one. They really protected the ball well. I don't recall an interception with the first three quarterbacks. There might have been one that I missed. I don't think so. So there was, there's so much positive, and even though you always talk about being aggressive, the first goal of every ball game, and it starts in practice and in scrimmages, is to not lose the game. Don't give the ball, don't give the game away. I got to believe he was really impressed with that, because there were some good hits on defense. There were some good hits on after catches, and those guys held on to the ball, and that's really a huge part of winning from an offensive perspective.
Coach Doug Mathews joins us on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline here on Blaine and Mickey.
Yeah, Coach, so you telling me there was a lot of physicality there on both sides of the football. One side that we've been looking at, and that's the defensive side, is the position group of the linebackers. How did they run around and move around out there? And did you see anybody at the linebacker position that you say, uh-oh, this guy kind of just stands out? He's a little bit, or some guys that stood out and made some plays that you thought were worthy of discussion?
Well, certainly Mitchell and Mohan, the two transfers that came in from an athletic perspective. Now, looks to me like Mitchell is a little bit ahead of Mohan right now. Mohan he's kind of a tweener guy. He could play the nickel position, and he's also a redshirt freshman, much younger. That's the one position that on defense, I think the whole court. You put quarterback and then linebacker on defense. That's the position that they're really going to have to struggle with a little bit. I would not be surprised at all if the Garland youngster, Kwame Garland, who was his big brother is a defensive tackle. He was a walk-on. They put him on scholarship. Would surprise me at all to see if he doesn't start in this first ball game. Banks has looked good. If I had to be perfectly honest right now, I would say if we can be average at linebacker, hopefully we can be better than that. But if we can be average at linebacker, I'd probably take that right now. Again, if I was coordinating this group, but they got some bodies there: Banks, Beasley, Mitchell, Mohan and Garland. I'd say those five. But I was really impressed with Garland, and I just kind of counted him out because I thought he was there last spring simply because they lost all those players. But he right now I would say is one of their top two linebackers.
No doubt about it, man. That's good stuff. I guess on the offensive side, let's talk about. Seems like they're really deep at running back, but they're young. Any comments on the running backs and how they looked out there in the scrimmage today?
Well, I think that's going to be a really, really good position. We all saw what Small could do last year. This junior college player, Evans, good-looking player. Good-looking player. And if there is a position that you can come in from junior college and play quickly, running back's one of them and wide receivers the other is pretty easy because that's easier. It's not easy to play. And I think those at right has looked good. They're the smaller backs. And then Beckwith, he'll be the guy that's going to come in and hammer them. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. Looks to me like they're a good, solid 4 deep there. And again, I want to emphasize the fact that all of them protected that ball, ran with good body lean, didn't lay the ball on the ground. And they had to have maybe 80 snaps or so, maybe 100. To do that in the first scrimmage is, I coached that position for a long time. That's impressive.
No doubt about it. I guess lastly for me, Coach, and that is, after what you saw today, do you feel optimistic that like winning 6 games is really capable? I mean, this is a solid team. They're not as bad as people want to, think about, everything that's happened with all the turnover at coaching to players. But I really believe, I think the sky's the limit. I think they can win 6 or more.
Well, I don't like to say, I don't even kind of look at it like that. Here's what I'll tell you. This team won 3 games last year out of a 10-game conference schedule. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt in my mind this team is going to be much better coached game day. And if you look at this schedule, and even when I was coaching, you say you don't, but you kind of look at them, there's certainly some winnable games there. Even though some of the teams on there, Missouri supposedly going to be better, Kentucky better, they're not significantly better than Tennessee if they are better, in my opinion. So what Tennessee needs to do is they need to win the games that they should win, and there's probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 of those, and they need to win a couple of the other games that they're probably going to be toss-up ball games. And then, and a lot of Tennessee teams, I've seen a lot of Tennessee teams do this, they need to win a game or maybe 2 of teams who probably have more athletic ability than they do. But one thing that helps them, I believe this is the only time, Charlie Anderson, I was visiting with him in the scrimmage. Of course, that's who the building's named for up there, he and his family. Tennessee got 8 home games this year. I don't think Tennessee's ever had 8 home games. Maybe I'm wrong. But 8 home games gives you an ability there too. So if they continue working like they're working, if they line up and play what appeared to be a very disciplined scrimmage to me today, I think they're going to have a chance to surprise some people. Numbers, I don't know, but there's teams out there that Tennessee can compete with. There's teams out there that Tennessee should be better than. And if they will win those ball games, I think they'll have it will be a successful year from a win-loss record.
Coach, great stuff. We're looking forward to every week catching up with you again, courtesy of our friends at the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you same time next week. Can't wait.
Appreciate it, Dougie.
See you all then.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Yes, sir. Coach Doug Mathews every week. Can't wait to talk balls with him. When we come back, There's so much going on in Houston right now.
Huh?
And then there's stuff going on in Jacksonville that I need you to explain to me. Like, why are we living a lie? They're living a lie. That's next. Blaine and Mickey. Why? The lie.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
Coming up tomorrow morning.
It's the fastest 4 hours of radio. If you ever miss any part of the show, download the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or anywhere you get your audio. Coming up Friday, it's our weekly visit with the VOT. Mike Keith before the Titans play the Falcons. Plus, all hail to the Queen. The Hall of Famer Teresa Walker joins us on J. Martin Ramon.
Tomorrow morning from 6 to 10 a.m. on 104.5 The Zone.
Okay, tonight. They got to win this rascal again this year because everything is just burning to the ground around the Titans in this division. Now, out of Indy, like people reporting Carson Wentz had this procedure. He had no limp. He showed up at practice earlier this week, no boot, no nothing. And there's Chris Mortensen says like his time frame is just really speeding up.
Yeah. Now he's week 1. He's ready to go.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Oh, I believe
everybody's time frame is great till it's time to go out there and have somebody step on your foot again. Would you find him and step on his foot in the game?
If I had the opportunity, I'd do everything I could to win the game.
Okay. You can leave it at that. Fair enough. Fair enough. I
don't know if they still play this way today. You might get a fine if you step on a quarterback's foot.
You make it look like you didn't mean to, right? I'm sorry, dog.
Yeah, I might have helped him up and step on his own foot to help him up.
Just put all your weight on his foot and then pull him up because it looks like you're helping. Oh, I like that. Old Jedi mind trick there. So who knows what's going to happen with Carson Wentz? They're saying now he's trending towards week 1. I'll believe that when it's week 1 and he takes snaps. Here's the other stuff that's going on. So Deshaun Watson has been sort of practicing. He does the thing where he comes out and does individual drills, which is usually first 2, 3, 4 periods, whatever. And, you jump over your cones and you throw it to receivers and whatever. But then he goes in. He goes in after that. And
he's done that the last few days because they said he was injured, like calf.
Right, wink,
ankle,
wink, injured. For a whole week he didn't do anything but show up in the building. Well, today he got more medical attention. Wink, wink. Yes, they were looking at more things with his legs, apparently. I think it's just so they can send him in for good till this gets resolved. They need video of someone looking at him on the sidelines and then like, oh, this doesn't look good. But that dude walked by camera. Think about this. Supposed to be the nicest guy. Well, let me phrase this. Before all this happened, greatest guy ever, right? People say, Deshaun's the greatest guy. Maybe he is, but he does have 22 pending lawsuits. So who knows who this guy actually is? Well, today he walked across the same field that he walks every day. In the media, they just tape him walking. And he said, why are y'all always filming me every day? It's the same something that rhymes with pit. And then he just shook his head and walked away. I mean, he's become not only maybe he's not a distraction to the team because they know he's not going to play and they just do what they do. But he's cussing at reporters now while he's walking by.
No, he didn't cuss at them.
Just about them, maybe.
Well, his response was a cuss word. He didn't actually verbalize.
No, he didn't. He didn't cuss them like you S heads.
Yeah, right.
But he said it's the same S.
Right.
And then
what they're supposed to do. I mean, they're saying that he's still here every day. And as I said in the beginning, I thought the NFL put them in a tough spot by not putting him on the exempt list or something to that effect, so he doesn't have to be there. And the talk is about him every single day, and he's not even actually really participating in the practice.
No.
And so guess what? All the players have to answer questions about him, and it's not their fault. So I totally disagree with this one here. And maybe they are. I didn't even think about that. Maybe they are trying to come up with a way where he's not on the field. And maybe they tell him don't then show up on the field at all and just always just come to the training room. And we'll just say you're getting treatment on your calf, ankle, whatever it may be, just to keep, things settled down until hopefully some resolution is here, whether he's with the team, at home or on another team.
Yep.
And I think it's hard to trade him at this point.
It'd be selling as low as you could possibly sell
because everybody knows that.
He and his lawyer, they got to get this stuff resolved so everybody can move on. They got to. I mean, I don't know what he wants to happen, but they need to make something happen, get it resolved.
And he's there because he doesn't want to get fined.
$50,000 a day.
So it's probably what he's paying his lawyer a day.
Yeah.
So
he's like it's a wash right now.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, and then I'll ask you why we're living a lie. They tried to switch.
I thought that was it.
You have no. That's a lie. That is absolutely living a lie. They also did a thing where they told the reporters it's not training camp for us anymore. Well, when training camp ends, you can't have the same access to the team. It's part of the collective bargaining agreement. They tried to tell them it was over, and so they couldn't watch practice or anything anymore.
So they thought they were trying to play the media as ding dong.
Yeah, so the media went to the NFL and was like, they said no. So they have to keep operating as though it's training camp. But they tried to just end training camp media coverage, even though it goes on to the end of August almost.
I mean,
They tried to just say it's not training camp anymore.
I mean, they know some of these reporters have been around for a long time. They've been
Tell that to John McClain.
Right, that's what I'm thinking about right now. He's like, really?
Aaron Wilson. Right.
We'll stop this right now. Okay, well, let's make a phone call, and we'll have someone call you guys and let you know that is not true.
And they did. Okay, here's the lie we're living. Urban Meyer. Says it's an open competition between Trevor Lawrence and Gardner Minshew to start the season opener. Why are we living a lie, Blaine? Why would they lie?
I've got the answer. It just hit me. It just hit me because I didn't know you were asking me that. Because he's trying to up the ante on Minshew's trade value. That is the only thing that makes any sense. Everything else is nonsense. The fans are going to go crazy if Trevor Lawrence is not out there.
Won't do it.
So, Minshew.
We don't.
Minshew madness.
Time for us to take this madness somewhere else. 3HL coming up next. Tomorrow, there's the Titans football game. We'll talk about that.
And there's a game tonight.
2 games. And the Field of Dreams game. And Lucas.
Oh, my.
Hit this quick on the way out. High School Media Day coming up.
Yeah, at Party Foul, Will Bowling and I from 7 to 9 following 3HL.
Cool Springs.
Looking forward to it. Yes, Cool Springs.
Boom. Peace out.
You're welcome.
See y'all tomorrow.
Peace.
Dupree and Caleb Farley. You hear them on the exclusive Titan station.
104.5 The Zone.